Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're heading underground, you know, beneath the bustling streets of New York City.
Ah, yes. We're diving into the fascinating world of NYC's secret subway stations.
I know a lot of you are big fans of the city's history and, well, a good mystery, so.
Exactly. These hidden platforms and tunnels, these forgotten spaces, they hold so many stories.
Yeah, each abandoned station, each tunnel, it's like a time capsule.
Absolutely. Capturing a piece of New York's evolution.
So before we get too deep into this, I do want to remind everyone to head over to Untold Chronicles on YouTube and hit that subscribe button to catch all our deep dives into.
The hidden corners of history.
Okay, so let's start with,
City Hall Station.
yeah, City Hall Station.
Hmm.
Your research notes really highlighted it, calling out its grandeur.
It's more than just a station. It was designed to be a symbol, like a symbol of the city's aspirations. It was built in 1904.
Wow.
Yeah, and it features these beautiful vaulted ceilings, skylights, and the chandeliers. Imagine just stepping off the train and
Into like a ballroom or something.
exactly, not your typical subway platform.
No, not at all.
And the architect, Rafael Guastavino, he was known for this stunning tile vaulting, which,
City Hall showcases beautifully.
right?
But then it was closed to the public back in 1945.
Yeah, City Hall Station's closure is kind of a symbol, too, of the city's constant evolution. They were introducing those newer, longer trains.
Ah, and the platform couldn't accommodate them.
Exactly. That curved platform just wasn't compatible with the, well, growing demands of the subway system.
So what happened to it after they closed it? Is it just sitting there empty? You mentioned tours.
Well, thankfully, it's not completely forgotten. The New York Transit Museum actually offers these limited guided tours.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so visitors can still experience this amazing architecture firsthand. It's a rare opportunity, stepping back in time, walking through a space
That's been frozen, yeah.
for decades.
Okay, I've got to check that out. So moving on, you've also got some interesting info on Worth Street Station. This one seems, I don't know, very different.
Yes, Worth Street, it's less about that grand architecture
Yeah.
and more about, how do I put it, the ephemeral nature of urban spaces. It's located between Canal Street
Okay.
and Brooklyn Bridge City Hall,
On the
IRT Lexington Avenue line.
got it.
Closed in 62, low ridership. And what remains today is, well,
Ghostly.
yeah, a ghostly presence, visible really only to those riding the Lexington Avenue line.
So what can you actually see when you pass by? What makes it ghostly?
Picture this. You're on the train, you're looking out the window, and suddenly you see this dimly lit platform. There's faded tile signage.
Barely visible.
Yeah, in the darkness. It's brief, fleeting, but it evokes this sense of, I don't know.
Forgotten history.
Exactly, like a reminder of how quickly spaces can be abandoned.
And left to fade. Okay, moving on to the last station you highlighted, 91st Street.
91st Street.
That's the story there.
It closed in 1959, but for a very different reason.
Oh.
It wasn't about low ridership. It was about, well, adapting to a growing city.
Okay.
See, they needed to extend the platforms at nearby stations.
For the longer trains again.
Right, to accommodate those longer trains. And so the platform at 91st Street, well, it became too short.
A casualty of progress.
It's interesting, though, because the platform's still visible from passing trains.
Like a scar, kind of.
A scar on the landscape, a reminder of a station that once.
Served the city.
But now it's just a silent observer.
You know, it's amazing to think how much history is hidden just beneath the surface. Speaking of hidden stories, don't forget to subscribe to Untold Chronicles on YouTube for more deep dives.
We've got a lot more to explore.
Now let's move on to some stations with, well, even more mystery surrounding them.
So we've talked about these abandoned stations, but there are some stations, well, they're shrouded in even more mystery.
Ooh, now you're talking. You know I love a good mystery, especially one hidden beneath, the busy streets of New York. Tell me more. Which station is, like, the most mysterious?
Let's start with Myrtle Avenue Station.
Okay.
On the BMT 4th Avenue line.
Got it.
It officially closed in 56.
Track realignment, right?
Yeah, because of track realignment. But, well, the story doesn't end there. Some reports, they say it was totally sealed off.
Like lost forever.
Yeah, lost to time. But then other accounts say, well, maybe some remnants still exist.
Hidden away somewhere.
Yeah, possibly behind layers of infrastructure. It's hard to say for sure.
So are we talking like a real lost station?
Right.
A hidden world down there?
It's that lack of definitive information, It really adds to the mystery.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, so what about another one? Give me another mystery.
How about Dean Street Station
Okay.
on the BMT Franklin Avenue line?
Dean Street.
This one closed much more recently, in '95. Low ridership again. But it's not the closure itself that's interesting, it's what might have happened afterward.
Ooh, what are we talking about?
Local lore, surrounding the station suggests there might have been another purpose.
The secret purpose. Now we're getting somewhere. Are we talking like Cold War bunkers or maybe some kind of secret government thing? What kind of secrets are we thinking about here?
Well, the specifics, they're elusive. It's more of a feeling, a sense that something more was going on there under the surface.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like the station's closed, but the purpose is still shrouded in secrecy.
Exactly. Like something out of a spy movie, with secret entrances.
And shadowy figures and maybe a hidden escape road or something.
It's amazing how these little hints of mystery, they can really capture the imagination.
Totally. So we've talked about these abandoned stations and then the ones with, those mysterious pasts. What else is there? You mentioned hidden infrastructure earlier. What's that all about?
Yes. Well, this is where we kind of delve into a different kind of secret, one born out of necessity, driven by events.
Okay.
Think World War II. Think Cold War.
Okay. Yeah.
New York City, a major hub. They needed to be prepared.
For anything. Yeah.
Exactly. So certain subway facilities, they were transformed quietly.
Into
Command centers, places where, well, big decisions could be made in secrecy.
So not your average subway station then?
Not at all. These were top secret facilities hidden away.
Do you have any examples?
One of the most intriguing is, well, it's rumored to be beneath the Waldorf Astoria Hotel.
Wait. Under the Waldorf Astoria?
Legend has it that it was designed as a secure transit hub for President Roosevelt.
A secret subway station for the president? You're kidding. What do we know about this? Was it just a simple platform?
Allegedly, it included a private railcar elevator, so the president could travel, discreetly and securely.
Wow. A private elevator to his own personal subway. That's next level. What about the Cold War bunkers?
Well, as the Cold War escalated, fear of nuclear attack, it was everywhere.
Yeah, you can imagine.
And so cities started building underground bunkers, for shelter.
Makes sense.
And these bunkers needed to be discreet, easily accessible. And so, well, there's speculation that some were connected to the subway tunnels.
Ooh, so the subway was like a potential escape route almost.
A lifeline, yeah, in case of an attack. Now, a lot of the details about those bunkers are still classified.
Of course.
But that possibility of hidden tunnels, it really captures the anxieties of that time, I think.
Definitely. So we've gone from grand stations to mysterious closures to secret wartime facilities. Now, what about the stories they've inspired, like the myths, the legends? What have you found about the folklore of the subway?
This is where we move from, documented history to urban legends. You were interested in the mole people.
Oh, yes, the mole people. That's a classic. Remind me, what's that all about?
Well, the legend says that there are these communities living underground.
In the abandoned stations and tunnels.
Exactly. A whole hidden society thriving in the darkness.
Wow. But is there any truth to that? Are there really people living down there?
Well, a whole society. Probably not.
Yeah.
But I think the legend speaks to something real, The plight of the homeless, the marginalized, those who seek refuge in the shadows of the city.
It's a reminder that there are hidden pockets of humanity everywhere, even in a city like New York.
Yeah.
So what other legends are there? Any tales of, like, buried treasure or something?
Yes, the lost treasure. Stories of hidden vaults filled with riches, tunnels used to transport, illegal liquor during Prohibition.
Oh, wow.
It's all very exciting. And, even if they're just stories, they speak to our fascination with the unknown.
It's the possibility, What if there really is a treasure map hidden somewhere down there? It's like if the subway itself is a mystery just waiting to be solved.
Exactly. A canvas for our imaginations.
So we've explored these abandoned stations, the mysterious closures, the wartime secrets, even the legends. But what about the future? What's next for these spaces?
That's a great question, and one that's being debated right now. There's a growing movement to, well, preserve and even repurpose these spaces, recognizing their significance.
Right, yeah.
Some people, they want to see those stations restored.
Bring them back into the system.
Imagine commuting through a station as beautiful as City Hall Station every day.
Now that would be something. What other ideas are there?
Well, some envision using them for, like, cultural events or art installations,
Ooh, I like that.
underground art galleries, performance spaces, maybe even a museum dedicated to the subway itself.
It's like bringing history back to life, making it accessible.
And what about technology?
Yeah. Could that play a role?
Augmented reality virtual tours,
Ooh, that would be cool.
bringing those spaces to life for people who, well, maybe can't physically access them.
So anyone could experience them.
That's amazing. Okay, so many possibilities. It's exciting to think about these spaces as, more than just relics of the past.
Yeah.
But, before we get too carried away with all these possibilities for the future, I'm curious about, well, the people working to preserve them now.
Right. Yeah.
You mentioned, like, the New York Transit Museum. What are they doing?
They're doing amazing work, documenting, preserving.
Yeah.
They really dig deep into the archives, piece together those stories, and offer these glimpses, through exhibitions and tours.
So they're like the guardians of the secrets.
Exactly. Making sure that those chapters of history, well, they aren't forgotten.
And then you've got, well, a group I find fascinating, those urban explorers.
Ah, yeah.
Venturing into those off-limits areas.
They're driven by adventure, a desire to uncover those hidden layers of the city.
Right, it's like they're seeing these forgotten spaces as time capsules.
Exactly. Offering these unique perspectives on history, on urban development. They're like, what, modern-day archaeologists or something.
Yeah, yeah. Piecing together the stories through photos and videos.
But it sounds dangerous. We're not encouraging anyone to go breaking into these stations. Right?
No, no, of course not. Safety first, always.
Right.
Many of these stations, they're not safe.
Yeah,
It's really important to appreciate these spaces responsibly,
for sure.
for personal safety and also for the preservation of the stations themselves.
So admiration from a distance.
Right.
Okay, well, even from a distance, there's just so much to appreciate. They offer these glimpses into different eras,
Mm-hmm.
reflect those hopes and fears.
Those myths and legends, right.
Yeah, and those stories, they just spark the imagination.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what would you say is the most important thing for our listeners to take away?
I think it's that interconnectedness. These stations, they're not just isolated things. They're part of the city's fabric. They're woven into the history, the architecture. They're a reminder that, well, beneath the surface, there are always more stories to uncover, more secrets, more possibilities. So next time you're in the city, walk in those streets, remember what's down there.
Yeah, that hidden world. It's like the city itself is whispering, inviting us to explore.
Exactly.
It's been an amazing journey exploring these secret subway stations, and we hope you enjoyed it.
We did.
And don't forget, to explore more of the hidden corners of the world, subscribe to Untold Chronicles on YouTube.
We're always uncovering new stories.
And if you like this episode, share it. Share it with your friends, family, anyone who loves a good mystery.
And keep exploring.
Until next time, everyone.